Yeah. So hello everyone. Um, yeah. First of all, thank you to the GDSC IISC team to like uh, call me and bring me to this platform to hold this session on Web3 and the future of the internet. And I'm so happy to be here and to impart my knowledge to all you guys. And yeah, I'm really excited. So it's about time, and I think we should now begin. So today's session is going to be on Web3 and how how it will shape the future of the internet for tomorrow. First of all, I'll tell you guys a bit about myself, like a short introduction. So my name is Pushpit Bhardwaj, and I'm a Web3 and smart contracts developer, and I've been working in this space for the past 1 year. And yeah, like me and my team, we participated in two hackathons, and we created projects related to Web3, and we won in them. And the biggest victory that we got uh, last month was in the Polygon BUIDL IT hackathon, where we created this product, Music's Verse. So yeah, I'm the founder of it, and we are currently also working to make it big. Also, I've been doing full stack development for the past 2 years, and yeah, along the way, learning about DevOps too. Um, yeah, if you guys are interested in reaching out to me, feel free to ping me on LinkedIn or Twitter. Okay, just a second. Cool. So here, I have a short list of topics that we'll be going through in this session. First, we'll start with the transition, how the internet changed from Web 1.0 to Web 3.0, and how Web 3.0 is different to its predecessors, the advantages and disadvantages, what is a blockchain and how is it connected to all the Web3 stuff. And you must have heard this buzzword, smart contracts. So we'll be looking at what this thing particularly is. And after that, I'll show you a smart contract walkthrough, and you guys can also code along with me. And that it will be a basic contract where you guys will get to know how things actually work in the Web3 space. After that, I'll tell you guys about some use cases of smart contracts, like how they can be used and what kind of value proposition do they bring in the Web3 space. Then we'll go through some popular Web3 platforms, and further we'll discuss where this whole Web3 stuff will take us in the future. And I have a surprise bonus section for you guys in the end. So I'll reveal it when we get there. Cool. And yeah, I feel like for the past 1 year, I've felt that people come to me and ask about some Web3 stuff. And yeah, during our conversations, they feel a little overwhelmed since this happens with pretty much everyone. It also happened with me because these are some new terms and a whole new ideology. Uh, yeah, things like that. So I just have a small message for you guys here that don't feel overwhelmed by hearing any of this. Yes, start doing, uh, start progressing in this space little by little, and yeah, eventually you'll get experienced. Okay, and I'll keep the session as simple as possible. Moving on. Cool. So first, we'll begin with how the internet changed from Web 1.0 to Web 3.0. In Web 1.0, this was the era when the internet was just getting started, right? And most of the users were just passive consumers of the content. So there were only few websites that put out content out there on the internet, for example, Netscape, and users were just able to read the content. So yeah, and the internet was made up of only static sites at that point, and the user was not able to interact much with these websites. Therefore, we can describe the Web 1.0 era as read only, since we were only able to read content from these websites, and they were particularly company focused. And yeah, the companies just owned the content at that particular point of time. And normal users were not able to create their own content. So that was the key point here. And that's where Web 2.0 came in, with the rise of social media giants like Facebook, YouTube, and these kind of websites. So here users started creating content on their own, and these were very interactive websites with good design, which were mainly run by centralized companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter, and uh, all other companies that today control the internet, right? So, and this this kind of a system for the internet in what we can say, that this made the tech giants to introduce targeted advertising to gain profits from the engagement of the users on their platforms. So that's how they are making all this money in today's time. And this has also led to so many data leaks that you might have heard of and other things. And this caused the lack of privacy for users in Web 2.0. So here, just to summarize, this was the era when the internet was both read and writable by the normal consumers, and it was community focused, um, like you engage with other users on platforms like Facebook and Instagram or WhatsApp. So you form a community of your own and you just interact between each other. And obviously sharing content, you just share blogs, videos, posts, and that kind of stuff. Now, what we are seeing for the past 1 or 2 years, particularly, is the era of Web 3.0. And this is just getting started. The main ideology behind this is that the internet should not remain in the hands of these powerful tech giants, right? Like Google, Facebook, and all. And therefore this is majorly based on decentralized networks. And these decentralized networks that I've written here, these are basically blockchains that are available to all public, right? Here there are no middlemen, and we can just communicate with the blockchain. And yeah, so there are no advertising that you see on traditional websites right now. You can remain anonymous in Web 3.0 so that no one knows your identity, who you are. This also, uh, like, uh, this has some major flaws that we'll discuss in further slides, like uncensored material. But a huge part of it is the community-driven part, where users of a particular platform form a community of their own and take decisions uh, as a whole. And this is not uh, like this is not regulated by a central authority. So this Web 3.0 can be described as the era of read, write, and own, where we own our own content and we get paid rightly for it, and it is individual focused, because these centralized companies are taken away from Web 3.0. Moving forward, yeah, so what's different in Web 3.0? If we see, before Web3 technology, people didn't get paid enough, because there were so many middlemen in between. For example, if you just want to make a bank transfer, right, you send money from your bank to some other person's bank, and the bank is the intermediary in this case, and they charge their cut. And if it is an international transfer, the charge is very high. right? But in Web3, people can send value like peer to peer. So there are no middlemen and there are like no these extra costs that you should bear. Uh, yeah, one of the most important things after that is the data, right? So in Web 2, what we can see is our data is held by particular companies. For example, Google has its own copy of our data that we provide to them. Facebook has its own copy of other data that we provide to them. Similarly, Twitter has other copy. So there are like multiple copies of the same data that we give to so many platforms, right? Now with Web 3.0, what it does is the blockchain acts as a single source of truth, right? So all your user data that you provide to platforms, that is stored on a blockchain. And every platform that you see that works on Web3 technology takes your data from the blockchain. So this opens uh, a whole new world of possibilities. Like we can move our data from service to service, and for example, in the gaming industry, right? For like you are playing one game and you own some costumes, some weapons, or some other stuff in that game, but you're like bored of that game and you want to switch to game B. Okay, so in that case, what happens is right now you have to continue game B from the start. There is no benefit that you can get from the time that you have spent on game A. But in blockchain, what you can do is like you can transfer your assets that you have had in game A to game B, and you can use it there too, if their platform allows that. So like this is really great because you now don't have to depend on a single platform to provide you value. Like you can just move from service to service, game to game, platform to platform, and all your data you can use anywhere. Oh, yeah, but as we all know that nothing is perfect, and everything has its own problems. So now we'll discuss the advantages and disadvantages that Web3 brings with it. The advantages include that there is increased information linking, and the blockchain, as I've already told, acts as a single source of truth. Web3 is community driven. So everyone in the community has the right to put up his or her views and lead the community. So everybody is included in the decision making and how a particular platform is like moves forward. It includes anonymity, which is a like both an advantage and a disadvantage. So if you do not wish to be known on a particular website and if you want to be anonymous, you can just do that in Web3. The fourth advantage that we have is that it is decentralized. So there is no single organization that has control over things, right? So like today what happens is like Facebook or Amazon, like for example, take the case of Amazon. Amazon takes our data and based on our likes and dislikes, what they do is they recommend us stuff, right? And sometimes this can be very dangerous. For example, Google is always listening to our conversations and things like that. So they have control like over our whole entire life. They can just uh, take our life in any direction by showing us any content that their algorithm decides to show us. And there are no middlemen in Web3. So this encourages the peer-to-peer transfer of value and assets. Now, if we see the disadvantages, there are Like a whole lot. Currently, because as it is very new, but some of the major ones are listed here. That the foremost is that people at today's time do not have adequate knowledge about Web3 and how to work with this technology, because it is very new and can be complicated to newcomers. The second issue is obviously of anonymity. Like you must have also seen in articles, in news, anything that uh, anonymity in Web3 can lead to illegal activities, as we can transfer funds to someone, and there's no way of knowing that who that person is. Number three is the uncensored material. So like decentralized applications are not censored, and since they're not controlled by anyone, if someone puts something on the Web3 on the blockchain, there is no way to like take it down. It remains there forever. So people can just upload inappropriate stuff and get away with it easily right now. But there are some technologies coming up like DAOs and all that help in regulating this to a certain extent. The other thing that is very important are the vague regulations that we have currently uh, against Web3. So there are no defined regulations, and it is like a very vague topic. And also, since everything is on the blockchain, the data is public and anybody can get our information and see what transfers we have made, what, like, say, NFTs and assets do we own. So there is a certain amount of doubt for privacy that comes into picture if we look at it this way. Hmm. So now, till now, we discussed about Web3, like how it works, what are the advantages, disadvantages. But the technology that is underneath it, that it works on, is a blockchain. Now, what is a blockchain? This is a very like important question that people ask, and I've tried to explain it very concisely and in a very like crisp manner. So basically, blockchain can be considered as an immutable, decentralized record of transactions. So in vague terms, you can understand it as an open database where everybody can read and everybody can write to it, right? If they have the appropriate permissions to do it. It is readable for everyone, but writable for only those who have permissions to do that. Okay. So what blockchains enables us as developers to do that and as users is that there are no middlemen. We can just communicate with the blockchain and transfer value and assets from peer to peer. There's complete transparency since everybody can see what transactions are going through on the blockchain. And since nobody is in control, so it is not centralized. Another very like important and cool thing that blockchains like Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, and Avalanche, these blockchains enable us to do is to create smart contracts on them. So smart contracts are just programs that are stored on a blockchain that are run when some conditions are met. So it is just like code that you write and host it on some server somewhere. But here you upload that code on a blockchain and it is readable by everyone, right? Uh, Traditionally, what happens is if we upload our code to some server, only we can access that code there because no one else knows where that server is and what the endpoint basically is to get that data. But on the blockchain, our code that is uploaded there is readable by everyone. Huh. So now, like, uh, I'll just wait a minute here and see the chat if there are any questions related to blockchain, Web3, or smart contracts. And after that, we'll go through a smart contract walkthrough. Details of blockchain encountered to on that cause issue later on. Yeah, this is an issue to a certain extent, Arnab, that blockchain is an immutable database, but like it is what it is. We have to go like program our smart contract in such a way that we don't need to edit data there, or we have to do it in such a way that it is not under the control of a centralized authority. Okay, like not under the control of a particular user, but a community as a whole can do this. Like, for example, that's what happened in DAOs, as we'll discuss in some time. Um, yep, correct. Oh, okay. So now, moving forward, we'll explore how a smart contract works and just write a basic smart contract. And you can also code along with me here. So let's just open a new window, and you guys can go to Remix. Like you guys can search Remix IDE on Google. Okay, and just click the first link here, Remix Ethereum IDE. Right. So um, I'll just wait for two minutes um, so that you guys can open Remix in your systems and code along with me. Q&A. Okay. Yes, Aritra. I also think that like the future probably won't be completely decentralized, right? There need to be some kind of authorities that monitor these kind of regulatory things. And yep, it is like research and development is going on around all this stuff, and I think it will probably take some time to like answer these type of questions. Uh, yeah, that can be seen as dangerous for society. We already know what things on the deep platform can you frequent to guarantee to prevent these things. Uh, okay. Huh. Yep. So it is true that currently there are no regulations and surveillance, and if someone has any wrong intentions to upload or put any inappropriate stuff on the web, uh, like they can do that. And as you mentioned that in the deep web such things already happen, it is true. But in in Web3, what is happening currently is like until recently, what people believed that there should be no control over a smart contract or over the code written on the blockchain. Okay, so this was an issue that has been raised up in the past 2 to 3 years, and people have been coming up with various solutions. But as far as I have looked into it, I feel that DAOs are the way to go here, where people of the community themselves take a vote. And like, for example, say you just upload some inappropriate stuff on some platform, right? And the community of that platform, what they can do is, if for example 100 people vote against that thing, and that thing then can be taken down from the platform, right? So this defeats centralization here, and also to a certain extent guarantees that like this kind of like these inappropriate things don't exist anymore after that on the Web3. The data is being leaked rather than being um, um, I actually didn't get this. Is this a question or a statement? So yeah, I'll just move forward right now. Okay, cool. So first of all, like uh, you all must be getting a window like this right now when you uh, like open Remix. Okay, now what you have to do is you just click this contracts folder or directory and create a new file here and name it um, like counter.sol. So smart contracts are mostly written in the Solidity programming language, or like Solidity is to a certain extent like JavaScript in its syntax. But if you people are more familiar with Python, you can always um, try to code smart contracts in Viper, Vyper. You guys can just search it on the internet and yeah, code with it if you want. But for this session, we'll move ahead with Solidity smart contracts, right? So what we have to do first is we this contract will be uploaded to the blockchain, okay, and it will live there. And whenever we call functions in it and interact with it, it will give us some results. So first of all, we have to tell the contract like which version of Solidity should it use to run all the code that we will write. So to do that, we have to use this keyword pragma and then write Solidity, and after that version number. We can write 0.8.10 here. Okay, so we are telling Solidity to run on version 0.8.0. Cool. After that, we'll start by defining our contract here. We'll just use the keyword contract and give a name to it. For this, we'll be making a counter contract where we will have a variable and we will just increment and decrement it on the blockchain. So contract counter, and we'll open it with these curly parentheses. Now what we'll do is we will define a variable here called count, which will store the count. So it is of the type uint. Uint means unsigned integer here, which means that this can only be a positive number or zero. And it Can we start, like we can initialize it with the value 0, right? After that, we will write a function which will start with the keyword function, and we'll just write function get, which through which we will be able to view the current value that our count variable stores in it. So we will write function count in a function get, sorry, and it will return a uint. So in Solidity, we have to specify in this way that what value will, like what type of value will this function return. So here we will just say return the count, right? And since count is of type uint, we'll just write here returns uint. Second. Cool. Okay. After that, we can write a function increment. Function increment, and what this function will do is it will simply like increment the count of this variable of our counter. So we can just do count plus is equal to 1. So this will count, increase the value of count by 1 and store it back in the counter variable. Similarly, we can copy this back and we can just change the function name to decrement, and we can just decrement it by 1 here, like this. Now, one very important thing that Solidity requires us to do is the variables and functions by default are private. This means that they are not callable from outside the contract. Okay, so we will not be able to call these functions if we don't declare them public. So we just have to add a keyword here named public to all these functions, right? And yeah, I think that this is a basic counter contract that we can test and it will work very fine. So just I'll wait for 1 minute here so that every one of you who are coding along can just write this code in your browser and yeah, get over with it. Mhm. You guys can write in the chat when you are done copying this code, and after that, I'll move forward. Right. Cool. I can see almost 10 to 12 guys who are done. So I will just move forward now. Right. So now we were here. Okay. What what we have to do now is just click on this icon here, and it says that it is the Solidity compiler that we are going to use to compile this code. Okay. Since we have defined the Solidity version 0.8.10, we'll select the same version here also, right? The language is Solidity, EVM version default, and after that, you can just compile this contract. Um, okay, here are some warnings. Okay, cool. Just a second. So Solidity also requires us to like specify a license identifier. So we can just write this line of code here, license MIT. I'll just paste it in the chat so you guys can just copy it and paste it there. Hmm. And the other thing that here is like in this function, we are just like viewing this variable, and we are not like interfering with it and updating it or modifying it in any way. So we can declare this function as view, like we are just viewing this variable here. We are not interacting and modifying it in any manner, right? After doing this, you can again hit compile. This will show a green tick mark here, and yeah, basically this means that our compilation is successful, as you can see. And now click on this third icon here to deploy this contract on the blockchain. Cool. So Remix provides us with these default accounts which have some fake ether in them, like 100 ether, which associated with each account. Yeah, JavaScript VM, this is right. Okay. And the contract is automatically selected, counter.sol. Now we just have to deploy it. Cool. Yeah. So just hit the deploy button and it will be deployed on a blockchain, on a simulatory blockchain, not on a real blockchain like Ethereum or Polygon, but on a test blockchain for you, for the purpose of this walkthrough. As we can see that it is successfully deployed, and here you must be seeing in the deployed contracts section that we have something new. It is a drop down, and if we click on it, we can see these four like buttons here. Okay, if we click on the get uh, button here, it will call this function and it will just return us the value of count. We can see that I think it's not visible properly, but yeah, the value is 0 currently because we initialized it with 0 and nothing happened yet. Similarly, the count variable is also public, so we can also get its value in that manner too. So 0. Now what we can try to do is like we call the increment function, and yeah, let's try increasing the value by 1. I just called the increment function by clicking on it, and we can see that the transaction has gone through successfully. So the value must have been incremented by 1. And if if I press the get button again, we can see that the value is 1 now. Yeah. If I like try to do this once more and get it, now it's 2. Once more, 3. here also 3. And if I try to decrement it and then see, the value is 2. So like how cool is it? Like we just wrote these variables and functions and deployed it somewhere on a testnet blockchain and got these variables. And yep, so we just can modify this code and learn more about Solidity and like do anything with it that you can imagine of in a completely like trustless and decentralized way. So yeah, um, just a second. Let me check the chat. Um, done. Yeah. Is this all fine? Like, were you guys able to deploy the contract? Write in the comments. Yup, yeah. Cool, cool. Yep, I can see so many yeses. So that's very good. And yeah, just a second. Let me have some water. Um, cool, Ayush. Um, okay, so this was a very basic smart contract that we all created right now, and we tested it out, and it works fine. And this thing can be like you can do many modifications with it. Now going forward with the session and the presentation, uh, now we can like discuss some advanced use cases of smart contracts. We just wrote a very simple counter contract that just increments and decrements. But what are some real world use cases of these smart contracts that people are using in today's time? You all like probably must have heard of NFTs during the past year. They were very hyped, and so many of these were being sold at insane amounts for millions, thousands of dollars. Right. So NFTs is one of the most hyped up use cases uh, like today. The second use case is decentralized finance. So what decentralized finance is, you can understand in this way. Like traditionally what happens is there is a bank and you deposit all your money there, you get interest from it, and you keep your money like secure there. But in DeFi, what happens is there is a decentralized bank. So it is not owned by anyone. There, it is just a smart contract that someone wrote in such a way that it acts as a like normal bank that we see in today's time. So you can take loans from it, deposit money to it, like deposit tokens or other cryptocurrencies and gain interest on that over time. So these kind of stuff like can be done using DeFi. The third that is very, I feel that it is very important, and in 2022, probably this will be the most used use case of smart contracts. It is a decentralized autonomous organization. So normally, like today, what you say is these companies that we have, like Google, Facebook, um, like Amazon, any other or any other country, sorry, company. So these are uh, these are run by certain individuals that are sitting on top of the chain, like the CEOs, and other executives, and they are the decision makers in these big companies. But what DAOs do is like they distribute this decision making power to the entire community. So whoever like is a part of a community and owns certain tokens uh, of that platform, or like something of that sort, you are eligible to have a say in what happens to the platform in the future. So you have a decision making capability in DAOs. So here, no single person have the power to decide the fate of a particular company or product. Everyone in the community has a say as to how it should be moved forward. The fourth use case is of initial coin offerings like ICOs. So ICOs can be understood as like IPOs, I think. Yeah, we can just compare it with IPOs when like companies put up stocks in the market and people come to like buy them, right? So in ICOs, what happen is certain uh, people of a like who are running a product, they just create their own coins and put it up on the market for sale. So people just can come there and buy those tokens and support those creators. Another use case is supply chain management. So in supply chain management, what happens is like we can write this entire process of supply chain management on a smart contract, and uh, if we do it in such a way, then no single participant in that chain is liable, like is responsible to keep track of the the progress of how items are being moved and how the supply of items is taking place, because uh, it is transparent, so nobody is able to change it, like change the data on the blockchain. And in this way there is no issue of trust. So if someone does anything wrong, uh, it will be visible to everyone uh, in the smart contract, right? So that person will be answerable, and this can like reduce a whole lot of time and effort that goes into supply chains. Cool. Now let's just discuss some Web3 platforms like that utilize these use cases currently, and these are just some of the use cases that I've written here. There are a like whole lot of things that can be done, and many of the things that can be done through smart contracts aren't even like existing yet. People have not even thought of that, as this is very new. This has been in the market for just about 4 to 5 years. So there are a whole lot of opportunities for exploration here. Cool. So some Web3 platforms that we can discuss is like moving, at first, NFTs and collectibles. So NFTs, like full form non-fungible tokens, are just digital tokens on the blockchain, right? And people can just own it, trade it, and like uh, keep it as an asset to them and as a collectible. Like in as a real world analogy, you can think of it as a painting. So you all must know that the like painting auctions happen, right? So if you like some painting, you bid on it and you can just buy it for the price uh, that the seller is interested to sell it to you in. That's the and you can just keep that painting and decorate it in your house and do those things. Similarly, NFTs can be thought of like that painting, but in the digital world. So, like the most famous NFT platforms or NFT projects are CryptoKitties, CryptoPunks, BAYC, and these things. And uh, probably you must have also heard about OpenSea. So So OpenSea, what it does is it like just aggregates all these NFTs from different projects, different platforms, and show it on their platform. And people can just buy, trade, like just trade these NFTs on their platform. So OpenSea is basically a marketplace just for NFTs. Not DeFi, decentralized finance. So as I told earlier that these like DeFi platforms are just uh, like decentralized version of traditional banks or exchanges. Okay, so uh, like you must know how a bank works. Similarly, Aave and Compound are just like decentralized version of those banks. So nobody is controlling it, and their code is already written in a smart contract. If you want, you can read their smart contract and try to understand how they work, right? And the other two platforms that are mentioned here are Uniswap and PancakeSwap. So what these are is like these are just decentralized exchanges. Uh, you guys must have heard about WazirX, CoinSwitch, or Binance. So they are centralized exchanges, right? They are owned by a company. But Uniswap and PancakeSwap, they are not owned and regulated by anyone. They are like open source projects that anyone can contribute to. Even you can go to their GitHub repository and put up like a PR or something if you want to like suggest some improvements in these platforms, and the community as a whole like decides if you like if that should be implemented or not. Also, you can just buy tokens or trade tokens or switch token for like for you. For example, you can just switch Ethereum to BNB on Uniswap or things like that. And PancakeSwap is the same thing as Uniswap, but Uniswap is on the Ethereum for the Ethereum blockchain, and PancakeSwap is for the Binance blockchain, Binance Smart Chain. The next thing is a DAO. So a DAO is just uh, a decentralized organization that can replace traditional management structures. As I told, that no single person has all the power of making decisions in a DAO. So some of the leading DAOs currently are the developer DAO for developers and also the Gitcoin DAO. So these are particularly for developers, and you can even be a part of them and like yeah, interact with the community and get some benefits that they all provide. Gitcoin DAO also have certain bounties, open source programs, and that kind of stuff. So people are actually earning a lot through the Gitcoin DAO also. The FWB DAO and the Maker DAO are some other examples of DAOs. So after discussing all this, the Web3 stuff, blockchain, smart contracts, the use cases, like this is a whole lot of stuff, and like where these technologies are coming into picture right now, and people are just getting into Web3 after the announcement of Meta by Facebook, right? They're going into the whole metaverse thing. This Web3 stuff has just taken off. So seeing all that and keeping all these things in mind, we can like just think about how the future will look like for us. Huh. So yeah, as we saw that Facebook just changed itself to Meta, and yeah, it is also going like all in on this metaverse and decentralized thing. You know, this like poses up a very critical question, that is Web3 going to be truly decentralized? Because many of the tech giants that we have in today's time, they aren't going to sit like still and just see all of this happening. because they are very big right now. They are trillion-dollar firms, and they make up like most part of the internet, and we interact with them only, and they have this whole control and yeah, all those things over the current internet. And I personally don't believe that they will sit still, and they are just like they're going to be a huge part of the Web3 system too. The whole metaverse stuff, yeah, that is going to happen probably soon in the coming, like I would say, 3 to 5 years. We would be like using some product of the metaverse in our daily lives. And yeah, Web3 is just not any new internet that we have to like go to. Similarly, like we can just imagine how the internet has evolved over the past 20 years from Web 1 to Web 2. Like websites just keep getting better. Developers started making them more interactive and aesthetic in terms of design and added new features to it. So gradually we just like shifted from Web 1 to Web 2. And in the same way, it like it isn't going to be a sudden shift, but it is going to be gradual by using like normal applications that we're using today, and they will probably move to the uh, Web3 ideology somewhere in the future. So this process will likely be gradual and will happen over time. With this, the session comes to an end, and before the bonus, I would just see the chat section again and yep, take up any questions that people have right now. Q&A. Okay. I think that there are no questions as of now. So just, yeah, let's move to the bonus section. Okay. Yep. So here I like over the last 1 year, I have gone through many YouTube tutorials, like around hundreds of them, and like went through many websites and many resources. And through all that experience, what I found out was that these two were the best resources to get anybody started in this space. Like if you are a developer and want to learn how to code like smart contracts and how to deploy them to the blockchain and how all of this stuff works in a decentralized way, you can get started with crypto zombies. Cool. So this image has a link. If you click on it, you will be redirected to the crypto zombies website, and I'll share this presentation uh, with everyone after the session, and you can just go through it and uh, yeah. And similarly, Binance Academy is the place where you want to go if you want to learn the theoretical terms about all the Web3 ecosystem, like what is a blockchain, what are cryptocurrencies, what is Ethereum, and all that stuff. Any question that you have in mind is probably already, like Binance Academy has already a blog written on it. So you can just go there and search, and yeah, you're good to go. You can just find information there. Cool. And one more thing, like what I have started with my team uh, that won the hackathon is a Get into Web3 initiative by us. Like we felt that it is like very hard to get into the Web3 space right now, and the problems that I have faced, that others in the team have faced over the past year, those are very like it takes up a lot of time, and there are even some doubts that aren't answered by anyone on the internet. And like, since this is very new, so nobody has answers to everything right now. But what we aim to do through Get Into Web3 is, like, we have started a community on Discord, and we are engaging with people on Twitter, and we have started a Dev2 blog where we write about everything related to Web3, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, the metaverse, yeah, that kind of stuff. So I think if you guys are interested in like learning more about Web3, and you're probably working with people and collaborate on some Web3 projects with us, you can just join this Discord community here. Uh, yeah, as I said, I will provide the link to this presentation, and you guys can just copy the link, or yeah, open it from here and join it, the community. Cool. And yeah, I'm always happy. I will be always happy to help everyone, and anyone can reach out to me on Twitter, LinkedIn, yeah, on these platforms, or the Discord itself, the Get Into Web3 Discord. Like, many people are there, so we all will be ready to help you in getting you started in this whole space. Right. So I think that I hope that this was a very informative session for you guys, and probably you guys must have learned something, if not much, from this session. And I hope to like provide more knowledge about Web3 and get more people into it. And yeah, and as a token of like, I appreciate everyone who is here for sticking till the end. And yeah, we are all gonna make it, right? So that is probably the end of my presentation here. uh, Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the GDSC team to like let me take the session, and thank you everyone for joining. I